The other day I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, and we're around the same age. He's 43, I'm about to be 40. So we was talking about hip hop. You know, we into the same type of hip hop and shit, you know. And he asked me, he was like, yo, bro, I got a question, yo. He was like, I want to know what you think about something, yo. He was like, I think hip hop is dead. Do you think so? And I was like, nah, I don't think it's dead. I think, you know, it's different now. You know, music is different. It was like, you know, in our time, coming up, popular music was what you heard on the radio and what you seen on TV. It was like what they gave you was really all you had access to. There wasn't no internet. There wasn't no streaming. You know, like, especially in our younger years, you know what I mean? I think, like, there was a point where, like, you know, the LimeWire and Kazaa and Napster, all that shit came around. That might have been, like, you know, for me, that was probably, like, you know, late teenage years, early 20s, shit like that. But, you know, just, like, coming up at a young age, like, you know, that was just, like, the golden era of hip-hop. But then, you know, after that, it was, like, you know, became the crunk music era and the snap music and trap music and all that. But then, you know, eventually along came, you know, the advance of the internet and technology and access to being able to listen to what you want to listen to via streaming services and, you know, whatever else you can do to access the music that you like. So, I don't think it's dead, you know. I think, you know, you just gotta search for it. I don't think it's ever gonna be dead. I think if anything, it's making more of a comeback. You know, we've had a lot of, you know, great music come out from, you know, the older artists, you know what I mean, that have already, you know, given us a lot of great music in the past. You know, they have resurged and, you know what I mean, they still doing it. Like Mobb Deep just dropped the album yesterday, so you know, you add that with, you know, the Clips and Raekwon and Ghostface have contributed to that. And my favorite rapper of all time, Big L, gonna be dropping the album on October 31st, R.I.P. Big L. So that's something I'm very, very, very hype about. And I don't even really get that hype about music outside of my own that often. But hip hop ain't dead, man. Fuck that shit.